say, kids, what time is it?
You like these fancy graphics?
They're awesome. What are you talking about?
Yeah. The problem is I can't share my screen because it'll wonk
Yep.
out.
Yep.
So we'll just have to talk, and viewers will have to use their imagination and pretend they can see a shared screen or the interwebs, or just dial it up on their browser at
Well,
home
we'll
and.
have to use our imaginations too.
Oh man. So well, everything's going off the rails this year.
Yeah. I mean, this is like it's such a dichotomy. It must be with all the sports, but we always talk about the NFL because it's such a short. But it's such a dichotomy that it's just like it's here and gone before you know. It's just like you're already in week 5 and you just barely thought just remember it just started and now we're week 5. But on the other hand, it's like this long season where it's like there's the status quo of right now, and then 5 weeks from now it could be flipped around. Teams on top could be on the bottom, and so it's a long season with all the injuries too. So that affects the NFL more than any other league, I think. I mean, maybe the NHL does that too, but the injuries really affect them a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, I know one team that's going to stay at the bottom.
Not necessarily.
That's my team. Oh, they are. They're horrible. They're really bad.
Well, I had high hopes, and I think I'm not trying to be hyperbole, but I think pretty much the league has made it so that the Dolphin season is over as of now, because they are going to use them specifically. Like they will never have a stretch of games where the starting quarterback will be there, or even the second string quarterback, because they will be. I know the whole league's under the microscope because of what happened to it, but I think they specifically would be under the. And the game against the Jets is typical. I mean, there was like no signs whatsoever for Teddy Bridgewater. He passed everything. It didn't matter. Like as soon as that he had a slight, he fell to the ground, and I guess he stumbled when he got up. It's like, well, how come you don't check out all the linemen that stumble when they like, are they being kicked out all the time? And I want for them to err on the side of caution. I don't want anybody like being injured, but I think now they're really gonna like, especially I think it's a punishment to the Dolphin organization. I think they're just gonna they're gonna completely derail them now.
Rightfully so. So let's
Yeah,
go right
I
there.
get it.
Let's
I
go
get
right
it.
to the Tua thing. I was watching that Bills Dolphins game. I caught the second half that day, and I had heard on the radio while I was driving around that he got hit and was all wobbling and whatnot. And when I finally got to where I was going and I got to see some of the second half, he was in there, and I was like, "Wait."
I know. I was
I
shocked.
said, "Hold on." They were saying he was wobbling around on the radio, and now he's in. I was like, "How did he get out of the concussion? What did he do to pay somebody off?" Like, like. And then it turned out they said it was his back, which was a bunch of crap because I don't care what these doctors say, and we all know they've ended up firing the independent doctors
Yep. Yep.
associated with this, who I'll get into my conspiracy scenario in a second. But I'm sorry, like, that does not pass the eyeball test. I'm no doctor, but that's not a back injury. When you're stumbling, when I saw it, I mean, those guys were holding him up, and his legs were
Yep.
jello. He's
Yep.
just collapsing. That guy was. When they call boxing matches when boxers do that, it's a TKO. They're done, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, my conspiracy theory is, and I know he's suspended, but Stephen Ross is behind this. His team is finally like, this was the game against the Bills
Yeah.
for first place in the division. His team is on top finally. He ordered those doctors to send him back out there. I guarantee it.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, this whole organization has been like one scandal after another with ever since he took over. With the whole Tom Brady thing, and forgot. I already forgot the coach's name already, but
Brian Flores,
with like trying to just
pay him
throw
to lose.
games, and it's like it's been one after another. Unfortunately, the thing is, I don't know how they could have. like I even just read the other day that after an independent or investigation, even after that, they're still saying that technically under the the examination there weren't any outright other than what you just said, like with the wobbling around, which is the eye test, obviously. But then all the different tests that they give him still came out like he wouldn't have, which is kind of I don't understand that. I'm so confused about that.
I
That even after an independent investigation, they're still saying that. Are they just trying to save the NFL brand now? Is that what's going on? I don't know.
there's a lot of crooked crap that goes on in
Yeah,
the
I
NFL, and
agree.
we all know that. Let's not be naive here.
Off the field,
But
yeah.
this one really reeked. Like something was really, really wrong with this. And then let's flash forward 3 days later, he starts again
Right.
on the Thursday night game against
Short.
Cincinnati. Gets ripped down and smacks his head again, and then the like that was. I was sitting right here in this chair working on something, and I had the game on behind me, and I turned around and looked when they were like, "Oh my god!" I thought he broke his fingers or something. I thought they were broken, and then I realized he was like paralyzed, and his fingers were in all the different directions. That
Yeah,
was
it
horrifying,
was horrible.
absolutely
As
horrifying.
soon as you saw that, it was like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
So I don't know if you saw, but the doctor, oh, what's his name now? The guy from the concussion, Doctor,
Um.
the concussion doctor, the guy who found CTE,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
begged Tua to retire now. Begged him to retire. He's like, this, you know, that second impact syndrome that he may have sustained on that second hit could be fatal.
Wow.
That could have fatal. I mean, that was really really scary. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long you hold him out now. I mean, he clearly wants to play. He's having a great year, but
I know, but
you got to look at the long term
damn, why
effects.
couldn't they have just taken him out like right away? I mean, all this could have been prevented.
All of it could have been prevented if he
Oh, what? So you
stayed
lose
out of the
one
Bills
regular
game.
season game. Who cares?
Right,
Jeez. What the heck?
right. Which that's see, it's because it was the Bills.
I
If it
know.
wasn't the Bills, I wouldn't immediately go right to ownership ordering those doctors to put him back out there. But because it was Buffalo, that was a big stage. That was a big game early in the year. They wanted to, they wanted to make their mark and say we're the new kid in town, right?
Yeah. Well.
Put the Bills on notice, and you're not going to do that with Teddy Bridgewater. I just reeks. It just really, really reeks of ownership ordering the doctors to put him back in there. It
Yeah.
does.
Now they're gonna have to sign like 6 or 7 quarterbacks because every time somebody they're gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's gonna be a big question mark is what happens with these new protocols now. Well, so-called new protocols. I mean, I don't know what
Well,
they're.
what's this term now? It's
I
gross
know.
gross
I just read it,
gross motor ability or something like that. Gross motor.
which is a just kind of like another not test, but another condition that they look at that they I guess they weren't looking at it before, which
Right.
is
I
I
mean,
don't
I don't
know.
know if you watched the game Thursday night this week with the Colts and the Broncos,
Oh my gosh, I don't know how anybody could have.
which
Just kidding.
was the football Ambien. Holy cow. We'll get into that next,
Oh my gosh.
but the Colts running back Naheem Hines got hit on like the third play of the game and had the same thing happen. He got up, he's wobbling around,
Oh yeah,
and when
they,
the doctors came out and grabbed him, he suddenly thought he was still running with the football. And he was trying to like break tackles to get away from the doctors. Did you see that?
no, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was weird, man. I'm like, okay, so
What is going on
what is
here?
going on, right? Because I'm like, all these we've seen guys get concussions. They usually get hit, they just lay there, they get up and they get escorted off the field and go to
Kind
the
of
tent.
just
Now we're seeing these guys wobbling all over the place. All of a sudden, it's really weird. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I want like what could motivate to like why wouldn't he just like if he had just I'm not putting this on him, but if he had just like kind of laid there and waited until he could kind of collect, but he got up right away and tried to run. It's like, why? Why would we do that?
Well, I
Like,
think a lot of it is they're not in the right frame of mind. Like Naheem Hines thought he still had the
yeah,
football and was running with the football. Yeah, really weird stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
it's. I mean, they do everything they can to try to protect these guys, but Pat Fryermuth from the Steelers took a ear hole yesterday. That's his third concussion in a year and a half. His career might be on the ropes now. So, second year in the league, and he's got
Wow.
3 concussions already.
That's
not good. So I don't know. I just hope they don't put those stupid balloon gazoo helmet things on them for the regular season, because that's coming, right?
something's got. I mean, it seems like there's going to be a lot of discussion, both in season and off season, about this even more. I mean, there probably is every year, but it's like after this year, with this.
Yeah, well, it's because of what happened with Tua. There's
Yeah, it
no
all
way
started there, and now all of a sudden, people are starting to see other things too, like that they weren't looking for. Now they're kind of seeing it everywhere, basically.
That's what happens. They're going to climb up your what with a
Yeah,
microscope. Yeah. So
I just remember Troy Aikman, him telling this story, and I'm so very glad that he kind of like has been out of football, and he still seems very healthy or whatever, and took care of himself. But I remember him. It was like a championship game where he got rocked pretty hard, and he went out, and he said, and then he played the following game. Maybe it was a division game, and the next game was a championship game. But he played a whole game, and for which he basically remembered nothing of the following week. I'm like, holy!
He took a lot of.
He played a whole game, and he has no memory of it.
He took a lot of hits in the head.
From
that guy
concussion.
His career would have gone 5-6 years longer if not for all those
but
concussions.
I'm so glad for him because he's now doing great.
Yeah, he's on right now.
You got to make that. You can't. All right, football is. I mean, we talk about football a lot and get excited about it, but it's not more important than a person's life. Come on, it's like
no, and that's what this doctor is telling Tua.
And if Tua has to retire, okay, it's like you have your whole other life ahead of you.
Whole life ahead of you.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's easy for me to say, from his perspective is different, but it's life or death. So.
Yeah. So speaking of Troy Aikman, I have a little anecdote about Troy Aikman. So our friend Doug called the other night. Said he was listening to a little sports talk radio on the way home, and they were talking about the Colts Broncos game the night before, and how bad Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan look. And we'll get into that next. But somebody said something about Troy Aikman. And basically they said that Russell Wilson's better than Troy Aikman. And it set Doug off. Because the host of the radio show was clearly in his 30s. Didn't watch Troy Aikman play. And he calls up and he's like, "Can you believe this? Troy Aikman was deadly. That guy was so accurate. He was so good." And exactly. There's no way. Russell Wilson's not in the same league with Troy Aikman. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And I said, "Yeah, well, that's a product of being our age, man." We've seen a lot of football.
Watched even like Russell Wilson play? Like, oh my gosh.
I know. Well, it's not so much. They've clearly never saw Troy Aikman play.
Yeah.
They've seen, highlight films or whatnot, and they just look at his numbers. That's what they do. They look at the numbers, and they see, look at all the picks he threw, and he didn't throw for half the amount of yards Russell Wilson threw. I got in an argument with a guy who came in and told me that Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, and Ken Stabler were overrated.
Wow.
And I was like, hold on, Skippy Peanut Butter.
You can't just
Let me tell you something about the era they played football in, where wide receivers could get decked all the way downfield. Like, they literally had to get open. They had to have 2 steps on a guy or forget it.
Yeah.
Because they could just get dragged down. And these quarterbacks were getting smashed on
picked
up and smashed on their heads.
And they weren't calling any roughing. There was no roughing.
No.
It's like, come on.
No. Just look at some of the Ben Davidson on Joe Namath highlights. So, yeah, you can't. It drives me nuts with these, in football in particular, with records. because the eras are so different.
Yeah.
The game has evolved. It's so different now.
All the rules changed just to make them
Different.
statistics
You
to
know,
skyrocket. It's
don't
like you
tell me
can't.
that Terry Bradshaw was overrated. That guy won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. Case closed. Case closed. So
Yep, yep.
so Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan go and stink up the joint the other day.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
They are done. They're both done. And I don't. Russell Wilson's only been in the league 10 years. Matt Ryan looks tired and old. He looks done.
You'd be really
Russell Wilson, something's going on, man. And I think Denver was sold a lemon. And Denver gave him that big guaranteed contract, and he's done playing.
Well, then they say I don't know if it was just something to cover up, but then they say he had some kind of elbow.
Yeah, they're saying now it's
injury
his
or
lat, his partially torn lat. Well, how does that explain the first 4 games?
something. Exactly. Yeah.
No, this guy, he doesn't look interested. He doesn't look like he cares anymore.
Oh no, he wants the glamour stuff. He wants like the off the field, like I'm this big personality and all this stuff, and he wants to go move into that part of it
Yeah, I agree.
before Brady steals it all away from him, because he's gonna be big time
Well,
once he stops.
in, good segue into Tom Brady.
Oh
So Tom, there's divorce lawyers here involved
yeah,
now. It looks like Giselle's had enough. So it looks like Tom retired because she told him to. And then he went, I don't want to be retired. And he went back and she said, that's it, I'm done. They've probably been having this feud for a couple of years now.
yeah.
So what do you think? I just want your educated opinion after watching this guy for 22 or 23 seasons now. How do you think this is going to affect him? Positive, negative, or not at all?
You mean coming back or the divorce or
The
the whole thing?
divorce with his season going forward.
I think right now I know, like right now he's completely blind to any of that stuff. Like when he's on the football, when he's like in the season, not just on the field, it's like it's all blinders. It's all like I think that at some point it's gonna like. Do you even think he's gonna retire even after this year? Is he gonna even go after another year? It's like I don't know, but I think at some point he is going to look back and say, was that extra year worth all of this? Like, well, not that someone in his financial position and his like kind of fame or whatever gets affected the same thing as everybody else of a divorce and kids getting caught in the middle of it or whatever. But it is a significant uh, bad situation for everybody when that happens. When it's you wouldn't think so the way it's like all over the place, but I think it's like significantly horrible that you just break up the family over or something like this. But he is like not now would be like he wouldn't listen. He wouldn't even see any of it right now. But I think he is going to have some regrets later. I mean, he looks like he has like I don't know. Doesn't seem like he has the perfect life? I mean, it seemed like that when he retired, I'm like, wow, this guy does everything right. It's like he's healthy. He has a family life. He just had the best career ever, and now he's like he knows when to stop, and now he's gonna have and then kind of like he came back, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? And then all this other stuff started with Giselle, and then it's all falling apart, I guess.
I have a feeling this has been going on for a while, and I don't
Okay,
think.
and he puts a good front then.
Yeah, I think this has been going on for some time. I think this goes back to his last year or two with New England.
Oh, okay.
Remember those last year or two, he started to look a little disinterested and disconnected in New England. It looked like the end was there, and then he goes to Tampa Bay, and I have a feeling this has been like she's wanted him out of the game for about 5 years, and he keeps going back. It's what he does.
Yeah,
it's what
it
he
is.
does,
I know.
and yeah, like I know it pulls him away from the family, and she'd rather have him there, but at the same time, she should be a little more understanding. That's what he wants to do. That's his livelihood.
Yep.
and
I
they
mean,
they
as
don't
long
need
as
his
he's not, yeah,
they don't
yeah,
need
as
his
long as
football money. She makes more money than him.
right, right, as
But
long as he's not pressuring her into not telling. I mean, if
right,
she does what she wants, she's not. She shouldn't be telling him
right.
to
She
stop
just wants
his.
him home to have their little ideal. They want their little go on vacations and tour whatever they want to do, right? And spend more time with the kids. And I get all that, but these guys, these pro athletes, especially a guy like Tom Brady, is a different kind of guy, man. He's a different beast. And she had to know that when she met him. And she's known him
Yeah.
all this time. That until he has to be dragged, he's got to have to be dragged out kicking and screaming. I don't think he's going to retire this year now. I think he's going to
Mhm.
play until he's 50, like he said he was going to. Remember when he said that?
Well, certainly once this comes out and it's like there's nothing to put up a front with anymore, it's like, well, forget this. Then I might as well just go as until I
Yeah. And it's
you
funny
know
because he hasn't looked quite right yet this year. Like he looks, I mean, he's
okay.
there and he's playing. I mean, he's still better than almost everybody else in the
Yeah.
league, but he's not. I think he's going to put that killer game face on any week now. He's just going to kick in and watch out. Watch out. Like he's the kind of guy he can go win Super Bowl number 8. I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't be surprised if he plays 4 more seasons after this and retires at 50. Because that's who he is.
Yeah, I mean he has that capability, but it is a whole team. So
Yeah.
Tampa Bay does have some issues, outside of him.
Well, it
Uh,
certainly answered the questions of why did he retire when he was the top rated quarterback last year.
yeah, it definitely did. We know why.
Right. Now we know why. So,
Yeah, I'm sure it must have been like not that she has the right to be frustrated, but I'm sure it must have been frustrated from her point of view. It's like, oh, okay, this whole thing with New England ended. I know that the only place he ever wanted, from her point of view, I know the only place he ever wanted to play is New England. So now that they're kind of rejecting him, he's definitely going to stop here. And it must have been kind of like a big shock to her that it didn't happen.
well, in San
So
Francisco, he wanted to go back to San Francisco. He grew up there, big Joe Montana fan. I think everybody thought he was kind of going to end up with the 49ers, and he didn't.
hmm,
Ends up with Tampa Bay, which was kind of strange at first. I was like, Tampa Bay? But, that's going to be something fun to watch the rest of the year. And they get to play my Steelers this week. So maybe this is the week Tom goes off.
geez, if it's anything like last game, wow.
Oh, Lordy. So before we segue out of the NFL, I know people are going to be like, wait a minute. That's all you guys do is talk football. We got other stuff to talk about. Um, what are some of your big surprises so far? We're basically 3 days from week 6. I'm watching the Chiefs and the Raiders right now.
Yep.
It's 20-17 in the third quarter, by the way. Raiders.
Yeah, I see that. Definitely the New York teams, which have been so lousy for various reasons, mostly coaching and some of the drafting hasn't been that great. Both the Jets and the Giants have been. The NFL is much better when they're kind of relevant, not just like when they're out of it in the first 3 weeks. Like it's happened a lot,
Especially the
and they,
Giants.
yeah, especially the Giants, and they've been. Like I'm not a fan of either team, but they've been very surprising. But I think because everybody kind of just got lulled into that. Oh yeah, it's going to be another horrible jet giant, and quietly, looks like the Giants have their finally a good coach. We'll see. I mean, it's only the first year, and it's only 5 games, but um, I think that this coach has made a big difference because it wasn't that big of an elevation in talent
No, they
for them.
basically put the same team
Um,
out there again.
but the defense has been so good, and the offense, Saquon Barkley certainly has come back. He's done some scheming to like kind of bring him back. Remember last year supposedly he was healthy and he couldn't get anything
Hmm.
done. But he's kind of like done something good with this offensive line, and Daniel Jones is what he is, but they're winning the games, and what's happening now is like the more games they win, like this Green Bay game was such a good win there after being down so much, is that like they're getting rid of that loser mentality. Like everyone is kind of like saying, oh, It's like, hey, let's buy. They're all buying in because we're winning, and it's like, and who cares if the other team's like 10 times better than us? And it's like, let's just go and we're gonna win because that's what we do, and it's all kind of like coming together. Same thing with the Jets. The Jets are starting to get some really good play. They're getting there like kind of like I don't want to say lucky, but they're getting some breaks on some of these games.
Fortune has smiled on them a little.
Yeah, for sure. But who cares? That's not a. It's like you win the games that you are handed to you, and if you figure out how to win, that's how you get going, and then you wind up becoming a winner.
What do they call luck?
I
They
like
call luck a combination of timing and planning, right?
that. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, they're silly.
the Jets 3 wins all last year. They have 3 wins now.
Yeah,
Giants 3 wins all last year. Have 4 wins
4 wins already.
And
Wow.
I'm with you. Coaching makes a difference. And for Robert Saleh and the Jets in particular, he got everybody was hurt last year. They were one of the
Yeah.
most injury riddled teams. And when you have a young team with not much depth to it, and you lose I think they had 11 or 12 regulars out last year, much like the Ravens. But the Ravens are much deeper.
Yeah.
The Jets are in a total rebuild, and then they lose half their rebuild. That's problematic.
Then they got to start all over again.
Right. So you can see, and he's got the team believing, and it all started with that huge comeback in Cleveland, and you saw it in the locker room when they were just going bananas with Flacco and jumping around and celebrating. That kind of, I think that, like you said, it gave them the confidence to say, "Hey, we're not losers anymore. We came back and they scored 14 points in less than 2 minutes
Yeah.
to beat the Browns. That was awesome." And the Giants, the same thing. Now Brian Daboll comes in, and it's almost like, to me, the polar opposite of what preceded him with Joe Judge, where Joe Judge was trying to mold the personnel to fit his schemes and what he wanted to do,
Yeah,
and
for
it
sure.
wasn't working. Where Brian Daboll comes in and says, "Okay, I have a limited quarterback. I have a question with the running back. Will he be what he was?" The offensive line, sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
He knew what he had, so he's tailored the game plan around them. And one thing we can say about the Giants last year, or the last 5 years, is if they got down, they were not coming back.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
not
That was
built
it.
to come back.
That was it.
And
It was over.
now they are. Now they are. So, yeah, that's a good one. I didn't, the New York teams, bravo.
I'll be really like interested to see how each of the teams does, and like the Jets against the New England, which is been their bugaboo the whole time. Even without Tom Brady, it doesn't matter. Like Belichick is there, and I'd be interested to like see if these players will like be like, oh no, it's New England. Oh, so or just like let's just play their like and since against the two are like let's see what they do against those opponents, and then I'll be really impressed. That doesn't mean they have to beat them. Just like really play your game and not get just run over.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right. Since you went for a double surprise on the
Yeah,
first,
sorry.
I'm going to throw in a double surprise too, and that's going to throw 2 quarterbacks at you.
Oh boy.
2 quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Geno Smith.
Wow.
I'm really, really impressed. Hurts, we saw it late last year. The Eagles went on that quiet run. Remember, we weren't really paying attention. We were doing our picks every week, and
Yeah.
slowly the Eagles were winning, but we were kind of like, we were very dismissive of them. But you could see what Sirianni's doing there. And boy, this year Jalen Hurts looks like he's a man.
Jeez.
He is a man. He's not just a running quarterback anymore. The dude can chuck it with the best of them. They had a close call yesterday, but they're on the road in Arizona. Tough place to play. You're going to have those. But somehow they found a way to win. They're 5-0. Meanwhile, in Seattle, going back to selling Denver a lemon,
Yeah.
Pete Carroll just gets rid of Russell Wilson. I'm calling this Herschel Walker Part 2. The deal when the Cowboys traded away Herschel Walker to Minnesota, and Minnesota gave them back.
Yeah.
How many players did they get? Like 14? they parlayed it into 14 players back from Herschel Walker. This wasn't quite that size bounty. The Chiefs just took the lead. Travis
of
Kelce
course.
again.
Yeah, that was
Kelce has 3 touchdowns.
saw that coming.
Good God. Lost my train of thought for a second. Oh, the Seattle deal. So I think they got 8 players back
Wow,
for
was it
Russell
that
Wilson,
many?
but
Jeez.
including number 1s this year and next year, and number 2s this year and next year in the
Oh,
draft.
they're gonna be set up.
They're set up. And going into this year, you're like, okay, Drew Lock came from Denver. Backup quarterback, right? Maybe. And in camp, it was Drew Lock against Geno Smith. And you're thinking, okay, it's like basically whoever doesn't want it more
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
it,
basically.
right? But no, Geno Smith, after all this time,
He's been
has finally
surprised.
found his place. And I'm so happy for this guy. I can't tell you how happy for this guy I am right now. They lost to the Saints yesterday, but wasn't his fault. He's put up 32 points.
He's been
He's
doing
been
great.
rock solid. And another one with Pete Carroll. Just he clearly knew the way I run my offense fits perfect with this guy. He doesn't have to be Russell Wilson. He just needs to be Geno Smith.
Yep.
So
I'll be interested to know, if he continues like this, are they gonna, because isn't there a big quarterback crop coming up in
Yeah.
the draft? I'll be interested to see if they're gonna be if that's gonna be their priority, or are they gonna,
Well, he is on his deal. He's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But he'll
But
get
maybe,
paid somewhere.
yeah, maybe this is his thing to just get a new contract somewhere. It's his opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll see. He's been very surprising.
All right, give me
and Hurts reminds me of like when Lamar Jackson first started. Like initially he was like just all about the running, and he was like, I remember that first playoff that he ever did. It was a disaster. It's like he didn't do anything. It was like, and then like the very next year he's doing it's kind of like the same parallel. He's just like became like a real quarterback and took command of the and like you said, Hurts last year was like quietly he didn't do well at the beginning, but like who did he have to throw? There wasn't
Yeah.
who did they have to throw?
Well,
to?
they
They
did.
took care of that. They got the Titans' best receiver.
They got
and they
AJ Brown in
drafted
there.
somebody.
They drafted another receiver, and Devonta
Yeah.
Smith's in his second
Yeah,
year now. And
I
Devonta
mean-
Smith's coming of age. So yeah,
That's it.
And they have the great quarterback Goddard and
Oh,
Miles
yeah.
Sanders, and that. Look, they've got offensive weapons up the wazoo. To me, Hurts reminds me more of Steve McNair. When I watch him play,
Oh, yeah, I
he
have to
reminds me of
remember.
Steve McNair, who I loved. I love Steve McNair. And McNair was the same way, too. Remember when he first came in the league,
Yeah, it
all
was
he could do was run.
the gimmicks. Yeah.
And it was like, this guy can't throw. And then he ended up becoming, one of the top passers in the league. So,
Yeah.
no, I'm happy for Hurts and the Eagles. Sky's the limit, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
But they're going to be fun to watch the rest of the year for sure. All right, give me a disappointment.
Oh gosh. um, let's see.
Put you on the spot.
No, it's just that I was trying to find a better example than the one that just immediately came to my head, but so I guess I'll just go with it. And it's like, not that I expected them to be world beaters, but I really thought the Lions were going to compete better this year.
That was one of mine. Yeah.
It's just they seem to have a lot of energy. Even that first game where they just barely lost to the Eagles, they went toe to toe with them, and I'm like, the Lions are going to do something this year. And it's like, you can only say that so many weeks before it's like you got to expect them to win. And then this last week was just like the total of just have they just already given up, being shut out by not that I'm not putting down the quarterback that the Patriots put out, but he is a third string quarterback, and it's like you got shut out. You couldn't even like muster 1 point or
Not only
a
shut out, they
touchdown.
gave up 29 points.
Yeah,
29 points to a third string quarterback.
At this
Who's a
point,
rookie.
you have to show some results. You can't just say, "Oh, were competing, or which are not by at this point. But I was really disappointed, and I really wanted to like root for them this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there's a couple other big disappointments.
I have, the Lions were on that list. I have two other ones that could add to that list. One's playing right now,
Oh yeah,
the Raiders, and the other one is the Carolina Panthers, who just fired Matt Rule
we just
today,
yeah that was a big
um,
news here.
which is long overdue. You bring in Baker Mayfield, and you know the Vegas over under for their season wins was 6, and I almost put money on that they'd go over 6. I'm so glad I don't bet on football
Jeez.
because I don't think they're going to. I mean, you never know. We'll see what happens. Now Mayfield's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. So
I know. I was hopeful for them too. I was like, oh, they're gonna get Baker Mayfield. McCaffrey's gonna be back
McCaffrey's
healthy, and
back, right?
uh,
They got
he's got the
DJ
defense
Moore. They
playing
got
well.
Robbie Anderson. It just does not. Their defense is always good. It makes no sense to me why they have won.
I know, and it's like, how is and we all I know I remember when Rule took over, it was like we were very positive about him.
Yeah,
He had the right attitude, and he seemed to be doing the right things in his first year, and I don't know what the heck happened there. uh, must just be like just spending too much time looking for a quarterback to maybe it's the same thing as what you said, trying to find somebody who fit into to his thing, and the
instead of
personnel doesn't do it.
catering to the personnel that you
Yeah,
have. Yeah,
that might be the same reason here.
could be, could be. And then back to Oakland or Vegas real quick.
Yeah.
Is the Josh McDaniels? Is it him? Is he going to wash out again like he did in Denver? Should they have kept Rich? What was his name? Rich Passaggio? Passaggio?
I definitely think they should have kept him, but not that I
I
have
do
anything
too.
against Josh McDaniel. But he was doing a good job. I thought he deserved to at least give him a full season
I
after
agree.
what happened when he took over. But
I totally
you know,
agree. Oh, Jacobs is off to the races down
when
here
it just goes all the way back to the whole controversy with the previous coach there, and it's like
with Gruden.
once that everybody was like, I loved how like all the NFL personnel is like, yeah, this is a great thing. Look how they're so much better without him and everything. But you knew eventually it was going to catch up, and it has. So
Yeah.
now they're not talking so much about how great they are without Gruden or whatever. It's like,
And there's another team that's loaded.
yeah,
I don't understand. It looks like they were ready to. I mean, you looked at that AFC West before the season started, and you're thinking, wow. I mean, there's 4 really good teams here. Yeah, the Raiders, Denver, Chiefs, and Chargers.
yep.
And right now, the Broncos and the Raiders are terrible. The Chargers are still who they were. They're 500. I don't get it. And that
They're
Brandon
still
Staley,
charging.
still
They're still,
charging.
just still losing games they shouldn't have any.
Oh God, I
any
watched that one, the Kansas City one. I was out in LA watching that game, that Kansas City Chargers game, and they let that one get away. There, nothing
he was
changes
ready.
with this team.
He was ready to give the yesterday's game away.
Yeah.
He gave the game away with that coaching, and it's like, but Cleveland wasn't good enough to take it. So here, you have it back.
Well, Cleveland
Uh,
missed that kick at the end.
yeah,
That
yeah,
killed them. A lot of
uh,
missed kicks this week, by the way, in week 5.
yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
missed kicks, including one in this game tonight. Crazy.
And I feel bad for Herbert. He just I don't know, wish they had a better
Brandon
coach.
Staley is one of these, and you see it a lot in some of these coaches now. These younger guys, especially, where they're great at designing schemes, both offensively and defensively. They great schemes, but the in-game coaching
Yeah,
is
yep,
abysmal. Their lack
yep.
of clock awareness, their lack of down management. It's in Staley's case, going for it on 4th down deep in his own end all the time. Like, what are you doing?
What the heck is that for? It's like what?
Right? And you see these guys just get completely undressed on game days with bad coaching. But yet they could scheme up like the most exotic offensive or defensive packages. And we're seeing a lot of better defense this year. The scores are way down this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, when are the offenses going to?" I thought it was supposed to be the other way around, where the offense was like
It usually
supposed
is.
to
I
come
mean,
out and then the defense catches up. But now it's like for some reason, I don't know.
what was it, week 3, 2 or 3? Everything was low scoring. It was a couple weeks ago. Like everything was low. Like you had an 11-10. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
I'm all for defensive football, but like this Thursday night game with the Colts and the Broncos. Holy moly!
What the heck?
If I would have told you at the beginning over the summer that Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan are going head to head, Colts Broncos, and the final score is going to be 12-9 in overtime.
In overtime.
You would have thought I was smoking crack.
I'd be like, oh, they must have both gotten injured, or the backups must have come in.
Was it raining really hard?
Yeah, it was like one of those weather phenomena.
Is the wind blowing 400 miles an hour? Yeah, crazy. So, anything else that you want to discuss before we move on?
Yeah, no, unfortunately both our teams are kind of on the downward spiral, so I'll just have fun watching other games.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Rams are a little bit of a disappointment. Jacksonville looks like they were going to compete, but now they're back down again. I don't know. Guess we'll have to come back in a few weeks and see how things have changed, I guess.
Definitely. But know this before we move on. Right now, the number 1 draft pick belongs to your Pittsburgh Steelers. It's true.
I did want to mention one other thing.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise, but I guess it was. Remember how we're always talking about the coaching changes during the offseason? And I thought, why the heck is Dan Quinn not getting a job? He's deciding to stay. And it's like, now I know why. He's like, I guess he had the personnel he wanted, and he didn't want to leave that job. And it's like, and that Dallas defense is single-handedly giving them all their wins. Literally, they've given up 1 touchdown per game. I know people love to talk about the Cooper Rush, and he's been managing the game. He's been avoiding the big mistake, basically.
Yes. Okay. He's done what they've asked him to do.
Yeah.
Come in there, manage the game, don't make any mistakes.
But no pundit, whatever you call it, analyst thought they were going to be at 4-1. They actually thought their season was over once they had that horrible performance against Tampa Bay and
Prescott
went out. They thought their season's over.
Yeah.
So that's what the NFL. The only reason I bring up that is that's what the NFL does. It's like you are sure of something, and it gets turned upside down.
Yeah, no, bravo to Dallas. And they don't have Randy Gregory anymore, and they're still...
Oh, right, and they lost him, yep,
yeah.
Still. Well, that whole division, well, except for Washington, that division's kind of interesting.
God, Carson Wentz, man. Did it again yesterday.
Still the chucker.
Threw a pick in the end zone at the end of the game. That's my Carson.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll catch up with the NFL, and when we do this again in a week or two. Well, let's move on. Oh, look what's going on here. Hang on, I'm just looking at the game.
Oh,
Cars
just trying to
congratulating people. I don't know what happened. They tie it or something?
I mean, it was up, so I don't...
Let's see. Oh, they kicked a field goal. They're down by 1,
okay.
24-23.
Wow, that's surprisingly a good... I mean, when it's a division and it's always, it doesn't matter how much better the other team is. Divisional games tend to be like this. So
yes, they do.
Not shocked.
Moving on to baseball. So I was stuck here with COVID for the last 5 or 6 days. It finally got me, and I had a good run. I almost made it 3 years, and watched a lot of baseball while I was laying on the couch. And boy, oh boy, these wild card series, and I'm so glad they went to a 3-game format this year because they were exciting. Even though 3 of them ended in 2 games, they were sweeps.
Right. Yeah.
But we saw the road teams come in. I mean, so just for people who aren't aware, let's make our audience aware that. So previous to this year, the wild card was, well, actually when it first came out, it was a best of 5.
Best of 5, yep.
Then it got changed to a 1 game only.
I didn't like that.
I hated that. 1 game only, single elimination. And now it's a best of 3, but all 3 games are in the team's stadium with the best record.
Yep.
So essentially, yeah, you're the lowest.
You got to be rewarded for your regular season. Yeah.
Right. So I guess we'll just go right in order. Into Cleveland goes Tampa Bay which was the most the best of the series.
Those are good games.
Wow, were
Just
they
two
good
games,
games?
but
Saturday's game, so I decided to clean my basement, which was a shithole, and now it's only a partial shithole. And so I brought a little extra TV down there with a streaming stick, and I got to put the game on while I was down there all day. 15 innings,
unbelievable.
scoreless. Scoreless. I told my daughter this last night. She's like, "What?" I said, "Avery, it went 15 innings with no score." She's like, "Oh, that's awesome." She loves baseball.
Oh, she does.
Oh,
Oh,
she
good.
loves baseball. And then Oscar Gonzalez hits a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 15th.
That was incredible. That was a great game. That's a classic. Instant
And the
classic.
day before was 2-1.
Yep, another
Where
1-run
yeah,
game. Yep.
and Ramirez hit a 2-run shot in the 7th or 8th inning. It was after Tampa Bay took a 1-0 lead on a home run. So yeah, wow, those two games, and I felt bad for the Rays. I mean, but wow, the pitching from both teams.
It's amazing. Yeah, I was a little surprised that the Rays couldn't muster more, but Cleveland has great pitching. I mean,
Both teams
Francona
are,
always
yeah.
has a good pitching staffs, and yeah, both teams had great pitching. I'm just a little surprised the Rays couldn't have any more offensive output, but I towards the end of the season they kind of faded away a little bit in that regard, and up against good pitching they weren't doing much, so that kind of just an extension of that.
Yeah, yeah. So it was, but boy, I tell you, and this is, I know most people who would look at that on the surface and say that's boring,
No, it's
but
not
it was
boring.
the drama on every pitch, especially as the game got past the 6th inning. You're getting to the 7th, 8th, ninth, and then the extra innings, and you're sitting there going, "Holy crap, who's gonna blink first?" It was awesome. It was awesome, and it was like, now what's gonna top that? Well, the next series was Seattle and Toronto. Now, going into this, I said the Blue Jays might win the whole thing because they're the scariest team on paper.
They are scary, but I don't know why.
But a lot of the pundits I was watching on TV, like Tim Kirkjian and these guys, they're all going with Seattle. Joe Starkey out of Pittsburgh went with the Mariners. And I'm like, they're saying, Seattle went on this big run. They won like 14 games in a row at the
Yeah, I
end.
remember seeing that.
Right. And boy, that catcher, Cal Raleigh, boy, he's something else. They go into Toronto and sweep them. So
And I know like the second game was a big up.
the
It was like
second
10-9
game.
or something.
So I'm laying there going, I cleaned the basement. I just watched like
That's
the
another
best
one.
playoff game. And I'm laying on the couch watching Toronto and Seattle, and it's in the 6th. I turn it on in like the 5th or 6th inning, and it's 8-1 Blue Jays. And I'm like,
Well, at least they'll go to 3 games. You're
and
thinking.
I ordered my Chinese delivery, and it came, and I'm sitting there going, oh, I'll eat this watch the rest of this blowout, and then I'll turn on the Mets or something. And and Seattle starts coming back. They come back, take the lead, and win the game 10-9.
That was
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I remember at times like during the season where I didn't have a lot of time to watch or keep track. I would be like a lot of the times I would be going to like the standings and seeing like who's on a hot streak. And I remember seeing Seattle like, holy cow, freaking Seattle!
Yeah.
Like they're gonna like break the record.
They were 10
Like
games under like in June.
yeah,
10 games under 500, and they end up a wild card team, and now they're in
yeah,
the divisional round. So, I mean, baseball is a long season. So,
it is.
if you
Yeah.
just, if you don't give up, you got to keep fighting, right? I mean, we saw in 1978, we saw something like that happen.
Yeah. And I was afraid that was going to happen in reverse, but
Yeah, so did I.
to them, but they were able to. I don't think there's. I don't think. Well, we'll eventually get to the Yankees.
Yes.
I don't think they're still perfectly right, but they did finish off the division, so
Yeah.
they did what they had to.
Yeah, so the next series was the Phillies and the Cardinals, Philadelphia in St. Louis, and the first game had a very similar feel to as the second Seattle-Toronto, where the Cardinals had the lead late in the game. Philadelphia scored 6 runs and won the game. And then game 2, Philadelphia shut them out 2-0. But what I thought was great, I watched the very end of the second game. Albert Pujols came up in the 8th and got a hit.
Oh yeah.
And then
that was his final.
Yadier Molina came up in the 9th as the last out of the game and got a hit. So those two guys, 20-plus years each, first ballot Hall of Famers, and they got hits in their last at-bats at home. So that was really awesome. Yeah, I mean, how could you not be happy for those two guys?
I think that one was probably the one I was surprised at the most. It was like I really thought the Cardinals were gonna not just trounce Philadelphia. Philadelphia is but it was gonna be close games. But I thought the Cardinals were gonna win for sure.
So
Like
did
that was the
I.
one that I was like I was pretty confident about. Like all the other ones, I wasn't confident either way. But I really thought the Cardinals were gonna do something.
So did I. The Phillies kind of, I don't want to say they backed in,
Well,
but
they kind of stumbled around
they really did.
throughout the whole thing, and it's like I was actually genuinely when I found out when I was not found out, but when I was like, wow, the Phillies made it into wow, I just didn't see that coming.
Yeah, no, because for a while it looked like they were going to get in easily, and then they kind of fell back again.
Yeah,
And then they made this late run and squeaked in, but I think they got lucky that Milwaukee kind of
right.
choked.
I thought I thought Milwaukee was actually gonna make it.
And then the last series was San Diego in New York, and this was the only one that went a full 3 games. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And the first game, the Padres dominated. The second game, the Mets dominated. And then the third game, the Padres dominated. None of the games were close.
Yeah, those weren't really like the dramatic type games. They were kind of like decided early on.
They really
for all
were.
3
Like
games.
they scored runs in bunches. The Padres put up like 7 runs in 1 inning or an inning and a half in game 1. And then the Mets did like the same thing to them in the middle of game 2. And then it pulled into this big 7-2 lead. And then in the last game, the Padres shut them out 6-0. So 3 of the road teams won the series.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I'm not a Met fan, but it must be very disappointing that they had that lead, that division lead for like what
Almost all year.
almost the whole year, and to lose that way. And then I know that they actually had some issues with the Padres during the season, so it was kind of like afraid that that was going to happen anyways. But just to have that type of year, I wonder like how like if you're a Met fan, it's got to be very disappointing to have that
and I think a lot of Met fans are fatalistic. But this team, that team won 101 games.
Yes,
and it wasn't like, Atlanta came and caught them, also winning 101 games, and Atlanta swept them at the end of the year, which was bad. That was the one. Okay, if you want to look at one thing, that 3-game series,
you just had to win that one game, and
it's just one of them, right? But overall, you can't be like this team was way ahead and then collapsed, and they won 101 baseball games. That's they ended up tied with Atlanta. Atlanta won the tiebreaker.
Right.
But these Met fans. The thing with this Mets team, and they put up a stat. It's like this is like the 4th Mets team to win 100 games in their history, and the other ones, aside from '88, they lost to the Dodgers in the playoffs. The other ones went on to win World Series.
Yep.
But this team lost in the wild card round. This team didn't have. I was just looking at it. So you had the 69 Mets, had a lot of personalities, right? Then you had the 86, 88 Mets. We all know the legendary personalities on that team. They had character. This team, these guys are about as vanilla as they come, except for like Lindor, right? Lindor's a kook, but the rest of the team, blah. Vanilla, boring guys.
I really, there wasn't really a lot of like headlines,
Yeah, I mean, not that you want a bunch of jerks, but it seems like, I mean, that 86, 87, 88 Mets run there, that stretch, those guys were like legendary. I mean, when you think of the New York Mets, those are the guys you think of. Keith Hernandez, David Cohn, Doc Good, and Darryl Strawberry, Delaney Dykstra, Gary Carter.
Yeah.
They were a bunch of goons,
They
right?
all,
Ray Knight, they were just a bunch of goons. This team was hard to. I mean, everyone likes Pete Alonso, but the guy's tapioca pudding, right? I mean, he's just nothing. He hits a lot of home runs, but McNeil won the league in batting, but there's no big boisterous guys on this team except Lindor, So I don't know, but
maybe they suffered from a leadership perspective.
Well, I mean, Buck Showalter is their manager. I love Buck Showalter. He
No,
did
I
a
like
great
him.
job with this team. But a lot of times the team is a reflection of the manager, and Buck Showalter's wallpaper.
He's very
he's wallpaper, right? He barely emotes. He just stands there.
Yeah, he just goes by the numbers, and you're like, there's no,
But I will give Buck credit. Last night, I don't know if you saw it, the 6th or 7th inning, and they're down, I think at the time, 4-0. He accuses Joe Musgrove of
I saw that,
rubbing up the baseball with something. And it sparked this Twitter conversation with Andrew McCutcheon. Andrew McCutcheon said he's got red hot on his ears. I've seen it. I've seen them do that. It helps him focus. And a bunch of people are like, why does that make you focus with your ears on fire? He goes, I'm not saying I do it. I'm just saying I've seen pitchers do it. And if you looked at Musgrove's ears, they definitely had something on them. They were all shiny, but they were really red. And I know from when I used to get headaches, my friend Patty's a masseuse. She used to rub my earlobes and pinch them to get the blood flow in there, and it would help clear up the head. So I think by putting red hot on his ears, it brings the blood flow to the head and helps him think clearly and stay focused. And that's my guess. But they didn't find anything. But, a lot of people were going nuts and, what's Showalter doing? I'm like, he's a wily... The guy's been around, man. That's gamesmanship.
I mean, why
He's
not?
looking for anything to turn the momentum around, right? Musgrove was killing them. I'd also like to make a note of all the Pittsburgh Pirates that are playing for all these playoff teams and contributing. Like Marte played great, and Joe Musgrove, and what's his face from Tampa Bay, the pitcher. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. He pitched game 2. God, it's right here. And then Adam Frazier, who had the game-winning hit for Seattle in their big comeback. It goes on and on. Josh Bell for the Padres hitting home runs. It's just ridiculous. Tyler Glasnow for Tampa. The Pirates are everywhere. And we're about to see Garrett Cole and Jamison Tyone.
That's right.
Thank you, Bob Nutting, for being the worst fucking owner in baseball. That you don't want to pay for this. All the guys on all these teams were on the Pirates at once. They could be a World Series caliber team if they kept all those guys.
Yeah,
but no,
that's true. They could. They always thinking. Now I'm trying to. I know there's been changes over the years. It's now the next series, best out of, right?
The next series is the best of 5.
Oh, it's 5 already. Okay,
it's best of 5.
I don't know why I thought it was 3. Okay.
So now we have Cleveland going to New York to play the Yankees.
So division is best of 5. And,
Seattle is going to Houston to play the Astros.
Okay.
The Phillies are going to Atlanta to play the Braves, and the Padres are going to play their arch rival, the Dodgers, in La La Land. So, it's a best of 5, and I believe it's a 2-2-1 format.
Okay.
Let me see. Postseason. Yes, it's 2-2-1 format. So 2 games in the team with the better record, the home field advantage, then 2 on the road, and the last game, game 5 if necessary, back at the. So I mean, Cleveland at the Yankees, not easy by any stretch.
No, definitely not.
And Aroldis Chapman was kicked off the Yankees roster yesterday because he skipped the workouts. What is wrong with that guy?
I don't know.
I wonder if he's got a substance abuse problem.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like how do you screw that up?
Yeah. So Cleveland Yankees, I don't know. You want to make a bold prediction?
Oh my gosh. It's like the Yankees are so hard to like they had that first half that was unbeatable, and then they kind of went into the tank for like the longest
They were the
time.
worst team in baseball in the month of, well, from the All Star
Jeez.
break through August. Yeah. Yeah.
I really hope they just don't lie down. I hope that at least they make it a good series. I mean, I think they have a good chance to win, but Francona is a good coach. He's a
Yes, he
good
is.
manager. I mean,
Yes, he
uh,
is. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I can
yeah,
see it going either way.
me too.
Uh,
But well, I think the Dodgers will have an easier thing maybe. But most of the series, well, the Braves, I give them a really good
yeah, I think the
chance
Braves will.
because they're so hot, and they ended that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Just like last year with
but the
Atlanta.
Yankees in Cleveland, I definitely think could go either way. And forgot what the other. It
Houston
was
and
Seattle.
Seattle.
And, oh, geez, yeah. Houston though, it's like they're playing their best. They could. Let's hope. I really hope that these series are actually good. Um, they continue with the good baseball, and not just get blown away by these teams that won so many.
Yeah.
Usually when you reach this point, you're facing quality pitching all around, and I don't think any of these teams have really horrible pitching.
No.
Uh,
No.
I do have to say the one thing that during I know this team didn't make the play, but as I was following the season, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, when was the last time you saw Baltimore have a winning record?
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I'm happy
I
for
know
the
I
Orioles.
know they're not like you know close to it, but they were playing well.
They were in the wild card hunt until the last week
I
or
know.
yeah.
I was like, I don't know why for some reason I was like, wow. Usually I'm used to seeing them like in last and by like 30 games out by the time the All-Star break, but it's like, wow,
Yeah, no,
they're
they were
going.
this year's Philadelphia Eagles. They were like quietly
Jeez.
winning and nobody was paying any attention to them.
Yeah.
But
I think the Yankees probably, but I wouldn't say that's like a sweep or anything like that. Like, I think that if they win, it'll be like up to the last game.
yeah, it's scary because I think I think three of the series you can call an upset. Cleveland can easily upset the Yankees. Seattle can pick off Houston without a doubt, from what I've seen. And the Padres are really swinging the bat well right now.
They
They could
are.
pick off the Dodgers. Um, I just don't see Philadelphia doing anything against Atlanta.
Yeah, I haven't really seen Seattle play a lot, so I wasn't sure about that, like whether they could give Houston a good. But you're right about San Diego though. They're very like because of their pitching too, and now that their bats are humming, they the Dodgers better watch it because they're not cruising right now. It's like I know they cruise through the whole regular season, but they better watch it on this type of format that they could be taken out by Padres
Yeah, it's
for
going to be
sure.
fun to watch, and I just hope this round is as good as the first round.
Yeah, I want, yeah, I mean, obviously, I want the Yankees to win, but in terms of all the series, I'm hoping that it's like really good baseball to enjoy watching this. It's like right now is like the best part of watching these series.
Yeah,
I mean, even the way I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the wild card, but even the way you described them, it was like, and obviously, I looked up at the results, and they must have been great games,
one of the
most of
perks
them.
of being stuck home sick is that I got to watch those, and going forward, I'll be watching less and less, or
Yeah, I
I'll be
know.
I'll have it on in the background, or I'll be catching up
I
after
gotta
the
try.
fact. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I was probably like more like waiting for the Yankees to start playing. I'll definitely pay a lot more attention to the next set of series.
before we segue off of baseball, I just want to talk about the rule changes for next year real quick. I don't know what you think of them. Um, One that I hate is that they're making the bases bigger. Like
What?
they're
I hadn't
making the
even heard
bases
about this.
bigger. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Why?
why is beyond, I guess, I don't know, to help double plays or maybe with
Oh,
base stealing or I don't know.
okay.
Um, they're getting rid of the shift, which I also kind of have a problem with. So they're
Meaning teams aren't allowed to do that? Is that what you're
correct.
saying?
They're
Okay.
putting, I don't know if you saw, they're putting like a wedge in the middle of the field. And you're not allowed to move your players from like
Okay.
shortstop and third base past that line,
I
and then
understand.
yeah, and same with the other. You know, it bugs me a lot because these are professional hitters, right? And if they put a shift on you, then it isn't it beholden for you to learn how to hit the other way.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You know, and I've had arguments that people go, "Oh well, you try hitting the other way when they're jamming you inside with a 96-mile-an-hour slider." I'm like, but these are professional hitters. Then just bunt it. Then just bunt it. If there's
Right.
nobody on the other side of the field, all you have to do is
Yeah.
bunt it. Nobody's there. Like if you just do that a couple times, they will stop shifting. Like I think it's your responsibility to move those players back to where they're supposed to be.
Right. Right.
Not for baseball to make a stupid rule preventing them from doing it going forward.
I have to say, I'm not saying I would be the person that would shift, like if make that decision shift, but I have to say, and thanks for telling me that. I hate that. Like to dictate to someone how to like strategize your field. No, you have 9 players. You can do whatever. Obviously the pitcher has to be on the mound. I get that, but I don't think you should be telling managers how to position their players. That's ridiculous. I
I
think.
agree.
Jeez.
I agree with that.
Why are they doing that?
It's stupid. The bigger bases doesn't make any sense. They're going to a
Yeah, that
pitch
doesn't.
clock.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
I saw
I
that.
think it's 20 seconds. I think is it 20 seconds with nobody on base and 15 with people on base or vice versa. I don't remember how it is, but they've been using the pitch clock in the minors for years and it
I
works.
mean, yeah. I mean, you saw that coming because of the
I mean,
constant.
yeah. Think about some of these Yankee Red Sox games that are 4.5 hours long, and that's for 9 innings. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you go back to the years with Nomar Garcia Parra, the human rain delay. The guy would just fix his batting
Yeah.
every pitch. He's fixing every
Oh
finger
yeah.
on his
Oh yeah.
glove, and like, come
Constantly.
on, just stop. I guess there's also a rule for the batter can only leave the box once or something, or like once you're in, you're in. So they're gonna try to speed up that whole thing. And one of the games I watched just the other day, it was the first game. You Darvish, was it you? Yeah, it was you Darvish was pitching really quickly. Like he would get the ball back and just kind of chuck it back in there again, and it moved the game along.
Yeah.
When a pitcher's working quick like that, and so you'll see that more often than not. I just that is a huge problem with baseball these days. The
Oh,
modern
I
game is,
definitely agree.
they're wearing all these pads, and they got to fix them every pitch, and it's just come on, get in there and hit. And I think there's one other. I don't remember. Or I don't. I'm not sure if they're doing away with the ghost runner in extra innings, which I hope they do. That is just really, really dumb. The ghost runner, where if
Oh,
they
that
put a
I
guy on
thought was
second base, I
that's
hate that.
stupid.
It's
I,
beyond stupid. It's like wiffle ball rules. It's like
and
no.
are they still right? This year was like where. Oh yeah, there was that. What
They also had
was
the DH in both leagues now. I don't
I
like
was
that
just gonna
either.
say? Were they curtailing games in doubleheader games still, or was that
No,
just
they
pre?
did that. That this year they've gone full. Well, yeah, last year they were 7 innings.
Okay, all right. I guess I
Which
must have.
last year it was driving me nuts. Like, you're like as a fan, they're having day-night double headers, so which means they will sell the two games separately, and so they
Yep,
have
yep,
one
yep,
crowd empty the stadium, the other crowd goes in, and you're playing 7 innings. Like I paid
yeah,
for a full game,
yep, yep.
and you're doing 7 innings.
I
Like,
didn't like that. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's minor league bush league crap. So, and I'm not a fan of the DH in both leagues. I don't want the DH at all, and I get that it gives people
I know.
extra jobs or their careers can be extended and all that stuff. But I love the strategy of National League ball. When you've got a pitcher who's pitched really well, but he's due up first in the next inning and you're down by a run. What
Yeah,
the heck?
yeah,
What do? Well, you double switch.
yep.
You put that pitcher in right field or something and bring somebody, you can, like, I just loved all the combinations you could have with that and the dilemma that it brought with it because the pitcher is just a terrible hitter. But now
Yeah,
it's
it
just
gives
like
you more
softball.
strategy, and now
Yeah.
it's just like whatever.
Yeah. It's just less managing the manager has to do. You're like, got a DH,
Yeah.
got an accomplished hitter hitting for the pitcher all the time. So, yeah, we'll see. But they got to get rid of that. I hope I should have probably looked it up before we did this, but that ghost runner at second base is just.
Oh my gosh.
My brother loves it. I'm like, well, what?
Really?
What are you
Oh,
smoking?
wow.
That's so dumb. 30-29 with 4.5 to go. By the way.
Oh, they're trying to see if they went for the 2.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I missed that.
And it's like a game, it's like an inches thing where they have to review it for like they don't know whether they made it. They've already had the play, but they don't know if they made it or not.
Oh
I
God.
guess it was a running play, and they don't know if they landed if they over the threshold or not.
I guess they didn't because they just kicked it off to the Chiefs, and it's 30-29.
Okay, so never mind.
Yeah.
I'm not up to date, but
Uh.
yeah, I guess they didn't give it to him then.
Guess not.
But they went for the 2.
Oh, I'm looking at the replay now.
I just love the
yeah, he was down like.
yeah the knee
Yeah, he was
before
like this
before he
far.
lunged forward.
Yep.
Yeah,
Ball was about that far away with his knee hit.
it's like all these like.
Why didn't they just kick it and tie it? What are you
like
doing?
all these coaches trying to be gimmicky now. It's like, yeah, we're going for the win. That's not going for the win. That's going for stupidity. It's like going for the win is more like, not punting or something on 4th and 1 and from the 50 or something like that. That's
There's so much. There's plenty of time left.
oh yeah,
Tie the
like
game.
like I was like, it's not like this is the last 10 seconds away.
Exactly.
I get that part, but
wow. Well, Josh McDaniels might end up 1-4 because of that.
everybody always try to like put their own like, and they wind up like just doing stupid things. It's like because
Yeah.
they want to like
Yep.
I don't know.
So tomorrow is opening day 2022 in the NHL. I know
That's
you're not
right,
a big
yeah.
hockey guy, so we'll just make this
No,
one quick.
I'm going to I'm going to start being closer to what's happening. I usually like to see a lot of the when they get to playoff season. I usually start like watching more and more of it, but
Nothing.
I like to keep track of
Nothing tops Stanley Cup hockey. Nothing. Especially in overtime games. Oh,
Yeah.
the drama. The drama. Because the next goal wins. And I love when they go double, triple overtimes. And you're like, it's 1 a.m. You got toothpicks in there. Like, don't screw up.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Penguins don't start till Thursday against the Coyotes. They
And
couldn't.
the NBA must be coming up soon, right?
NBA's about a week or 2 behind that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's college basketball's coming too. Huskies. Got to talk about our Huskies at some point. But yeah, I'm
let's see
looking
how that
forward to
goes.
the hockey season. Colorado won the whole thing last year, so we'll see if they can repeat. They are so loaded. They are just so loaded. And I'm wondering if this is the year Edmonton breaks out, because Edmonton has stockpiled tons of these top draft picks over the years.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, the Connor McDavids, and they're just not. They just can't get over that hump in the playoffs. So, but there's always, teams like you don't expect. Like, I'm actually expecting the Vancouver Canucks this year to get in and do some damage. Last year, they replaced their coach in November. Bruce Boudreau came in, and they went on a tear, and they just missed the playoffs. But they were like the hottest team in the league. So, we'll see there. Pittsburgh, hopefully this year they're not snake bitten by the injuries.
I know.
I mean,
It's
they had
always
to
like-
use they were using the goalie was like a chef.
Really?
Their starting goalie, Tristan Jarry, got hurt, couldn't start the playoffs, so they started his backup, Casey DeSmith, who then got hurt in the first game.
Wow.
So they had to dress the emergency goalie, who's a chef.
Wow.
And he had to, what was his name? God, I can't think of
That's
his name.
unbelievable.
He had to play the next 3 games. They played okay, but they're playing the Rangers, who ended up going all the way to the Cup Finals there. So Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the Rangers come back. I hope they don't, because I can't stand them.
Doesn't your brother like the Rangers?
Loves the Rangers.
Okay, so I thought
Him
somebody
and
was.
Bennett, his son. God, I have to listen to them constantly. The stupid Rangers. Ugh. And plus, we have their minor league team up the street in Hartford, the Wolfpack. I go up there and root against them. So, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It always is. The thing with hockey that people knock, they always go, how hard is it to make the playoffs in hockey? Everybody makes it. Which is so untrue. Okay. It's not true. Okay, 16 teams get in, right? So right now in football, how many get in?
I mean, yeah, football
14,
has quite a few.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's only 2 more than football. Baseball has sent 12 this year.
Yep.
And the NBA, 16. So, the same people who rip the NHL for having 16 teams go are probably huge basketball fans.
Well, the NBA is set up exactly the same. Well, not exactly, but set up like that, right?
Right.
So that many teams going.
Yeah.
So it's like that's ridiculous.
I know it's half the teams. I get it. There's 32 hockey teams. 16 of them get in, but I don't see the problem with that. Then the first round of anything is always the most exciting when you've got all those teams playing, because there's no bye weeks in the hockey playoffs.
Right.
You're in. You're in the tournament, so it's a lot like the March Madness.
Yep.
So we'll see, but I'm looking forward to that. It's just another bill too, because I got to pay for ESPN Plus again now to watch my hockey.
Oh, that's right, ESPN Plus.
I'll probably wait until like December. The first month or two of the season, there's just too much with football, and I'm working like
I know.
I'm gonna be back on the road again, and I won't have time, so I'll wait till the season gets going a little bit. But I do love my hockey, so that's all I got for tonight. What do you got? Anything else?
That's all I got.
Any golf news? You want to talk about golf?
Yeah. Let's see if there's any other news stories.
I don't have a graphic for golf. I'll just leave the hockey one up. But
yeah.
I do. We should talk
really
about what's this live thing? Have you been following any of this live tournament thing?
No, not really.
Me either. I just know it's the Saudis, right? Is it the Saudis or is it the Emirates? It's the Emirates, right? It's one of those. Are like funding these, and they're stealing all the PGA golfers away from the PGA, and I think that's hilarious.
It's funny. Yeah, I think you're right. It is hilarious. Actually, well, it's not news, but I think it's this fall at the same. It starts in November also. Not that there's big fans of there, but I think the World Cup soccer is this fall.
Yes, it is.
In November, because it's set. It's usually not this late in the year, but it's set in a very warm weather venue. So they were trying to, make it so that someone doesn't die of heat exhaustion by having it.
Yeah, and I saw Messi said this is it for him. After this, he's done. He's retiring.
Qatar, is it?
Is it in Qatar?
I forgot the name of it. I thought it was Qatar, but oh yeah. Well, I mean, that sport has a very you have a very short amount of years that you can do too. I mean, that's very. I know it's not like.
It is in Qatar. You're right.
I know you're not like, it's not something where you get a lot of contact with injuries, but that type of like constant running, it just wears you down a lot. So their careers aren't that long either.
Oh yeah, it's brutal on the knees.
And plus that type of turn, it's only every 4 years, so you have a very limited amount of time to try to.
Yeah.
So that's right. I remember that. That's also going to be like clogging up the fall.
Yeah, November 20th to December 18th.
Yeah, at least they keep it very like content. Like again, like you said with no, there's no bye weeks or anything like that. You just once you're in it, like, and it doesn't like there's no days off. You just keep going, and it's like all the way.
Yeah, it's a battle
like within
attrition.
A month or something.
You got to earn that win. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the commercial with Tom Brady for that, by the way?
No.
Oh, it's great. He's like in his kitchen and he's like nibbling on celery or something, and he's watching an ad for the World Cup, and I think it's Messi because I was actually like walking into the room and I caught it, and he's like, "Isn't he a little old?" And he, that's Brady says that, and he eats the celery.
And then nice.
Good ad.
Yeah,
I hope I see it again because like I said,
I'll be looking out for that.
Yeah, I walked in and I noticed it was Tom Brady, and I turned around and I think it was Messi that he was talking about, but that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
isn't he a little old?
I usually like to just see how much the United States will do or whatever.
Yeah, they did pretty. If memory serves, they did okay a couple years ago, didn't they?
Yeah,
they were competitive.
They are competitive. I don't think they ever gone to like all the way, to the end, but
not like when I was in high school and they would just get smoked right out of the gate.
Oh, I know it wouldn't. A lot of times they wouldn't qualify or whatever.
Yeah, they were bad. So
yeah, so I'll keep an eye on that too.
Yeah, we usually end up at my brother's to watch Portugal play somebody because.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, because my brother's wife's Portuguese.
Yep.
And so her whole family comes over, and my brother and my sister-in-law's sister's husband. So my sister-in-law's brother-in-law, he owns a restaurant, and last time he brought like a box of seafood. Like a box of seafood, like shrimp and lobsters and crab cakes, and me, him, and my brother we're in the back of the kitchen, like we don't know what's going on. We don't really follow soccer, but
yeah, that's okay.
We're here for the food.
I mean, it's like I find that hard to watch too. It's like, and my father was like the biggest fan there. Like he wouldn't miss a game for the end. Like he would be like my version of football. Like my thing where I follow a certain team, but I'll watch any football game. It could be like the two worst teams, and I'll
like the Broncos and the Colts.
Except for the Broncos, that one was an exception. But he would be like that. He would find any kind of soccer game there is, and he was just like, and I understand people like that didn't grow up on it. It's like it can be boring. It's like there's a lot of this like following around, and it's like, and then it gets like exciting for periods of time, and then you kind of just have to. It all depends on like how much you know what's going on. It's all obviously.
Well, it's like baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask why I can watch baseball. How can you watch baseball?
Well, if you know the nuances of baseball, and that's how how it becomes exciting.
Exactly. And I will say this about baseball is I wish it would become as exciting as it was when I was a kid again.
Yeah.
With stolen bases, bunting, small ball, like the game right now is very one-dimensional, man. It's like hit a home run, walk or hit a single and then have a guy hit a home run. They're all waiting for a 3-run homer. There's the stolen bases. I mean, when we were young, Edson, I mean, we had Lou Brock, Vince Coleman, Ricky Henderson. These guys were swiping 100+ bags a year.
Yeah, that was a big thing because it's like you could quote unquote manufacture runs just from like it's like you get a walk and okay, now it
starts. Those 70s Yankees when you had Roy White and Mickey Rivers.
Oh, that's right, Mickey Rivers.
And like they would, Willie Randolph. So you'd have Mickey get on and he'd steal second, and Willie would bunt him to third, and then Pinella would single him in or something. Boom, manufactured run, right? Yep. They don't do that anymore. And those things in baseball are very exciting to me. And the minor league team up the street, the Hartford Yard Goats, who are the minor league affiliate of the Rockies, were one of the top teams in stolen bases this year. They stole a lot of bases. And it was funny because I had Avery with me at a couple games. And she said, "Why'd that guy start running? Nobody hit the ball." Like she didn't know what a stolen base was. So I explained to her, like she thinks that's the coolest thing ever now. She wants to see people steal bases all the time. They just take off and steal it, right?
I know. It's like
it was. I mean, come on, Ricky Henderson. Like
I remember. Yeah,
like
that was like.
Remember when like 30-30 and then 40-40 and then even 50-50 were big deals? You had the Cansecos, the Griffeys, the Bonds. Nobody's
Who was
going
it?
for those things
Who was it?
anymore.
Oh,
You don't
Rod
hear about
Carew, I think.
Rod
I
Carew.
remember. Oh my
You don't
gosh.
hear about like
Yeah.
30 guys anymore, or 40 guys. Like Eric Davis. Eric Davis was a 40 guy. Like, where are these kind of players? It's a bygone era, and I want it to come back. I mean, how many games I was watching this weekend, guys are trying to bunt. They have no freaking idea how to bunt. Phil Rizzuto's like, forget rolling over in his grave. He's screaming.
Yeah.
These guys are trying to bunt, and they're, bunting it foul up over their heads, and like, come on, man. Like,
Even even when I watch highlights of games, I hardly ever hear anyone say anything about a stolen base or anything. It's like they just want you to see the home run or the.
that's it.
Yeah.
And while we're on that topic, by the way, actually, you know what? I'm going to change it back to our baseball graphic real quick. Enough with while we're watching the game, the launch angle, the velocity off the bat. Oh, that came off the bat at 104
Why the heck
miles
do
an
they
hour.
have to,
I don't
like-
give a crap how hard it came off the bat. I can see how hard it came off the bat. If the pitcher throws it 100 miles an hour and the guy hits it, it's clearly coming back faster. I don't need you to tell me that. Like, it's ruining the game. All
They
this
gotta show off
stats,
their
all the
technology and.
yeah. Oh, the launch angle and that. You know what? Blow it out your ass, man. They say that on every batter. It's driving me crazy. How about talk about like the strategy of the game instead of like how hard the guy hit the ball off the bat? My God. It's driving me crazy.
It used to be just that was out of the park. That's in this the next street over. It's like they're like just we know how hard it was hit. It was like hit out of the stadium. It's like
And that's the other part of the game that's bugging me right now is every pitcher is just like throwing heat. Where's Tommy John? Where's Jimmy Key? Where's Greg Maddux? Where are the guys who throw junk at 82 miles an hour and you can't hit it? Like every single pitcher that comes in now throws the ball 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's no like.
They're throwing 100 miles an hour.
Different type
Their
of,
sliders and cutters are 95.
Jeez.
I know. Some of these guys are hitting 102, 104. Like every single guy's a flamethrower. I would like to see more nuance back in baseball. Right now, it's all about power pitching and power hitting. That's all it's about. And it's. I mean, I still love the game. I'll still watch the game, but I prefer all the other stuff. I miss the strategy of it.
I remember those 4 pitchers with the Braves. It was like Smoltz,
Glavine, Maddux, and Steve
gosh.
Avery.
Oh, like cripes!
Yeah.
Well, that was like it's like
A murderer's row.
that was like the dynasty or whatever.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, and by the way, real quick, there's a great baseball documentary I watched on a flight recently called Facing Nolan. It's about Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
Nolan Ryan. And like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, there will never be another Nolan Ryan. Not even close. These guys now with their stupid pitch counts, they don't pitch.
Oh no!
This guy, complete games, like coming out was not an option. He's finishing the game. I mean, man, what an amazing pitcher. I mean, 5,000 some odd strikeouts and 7 no hitters, and God, he was incredible. It was a different time.
Yeah. Now you have like the specialists. You have like the mid innings one and the setup guy, and it's like I remember when Goose Goss just came in and did like the last 3 innings, and he and like the 9th inning or the last 2 outs of the 9th inning because he was like the closer.
Right.
He would come in and do like 3 innings. Like holy cow! Like,
you don't have to go back that far for Lee Smith, Dennis Eckersley. Those guys in the 90s were pitching 2-3 inning saves.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Eckersley, who like was a great starting pitcher and then made himself into a great
closer with the A's.
Jeez.
And you had Lee Smith in Chicago. That guy was dominant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You had Dave Righetti, Dan Plesac. Like those guys were pitching multiple innings to get saves back then.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But I plead with you, Major League Baseball, because I know you're watching us. You're huge fans. Please somehow get the stolen base. At least bring the stolen base back. I'm tired of looking at the stolen base leaders in MLB, and they got like 23. 2023 was a week for Ricky Henderson. A
Oh,
slow week for Ricky Henderson. I mean, come on. I mean, Jackie Robinson used to steal home routinely.
that is amazing. With actually stealing home.
Right.
Yeah, that.
I mean, Vince Coleman. In the 80s, we had Vince Coleman and Ricky Henderson, one in the National League, one in the American League, and they were both at like 100 stolen bases going for the overall lead. It's over. The Chiefs won by the 1 point.
Wow.
Way to go, Josh McDaniel. Coach your team in extra loss there.
Oh, wow. That freaking last, they had a 4th and 1, and they're two. What kind of route running? Their 2 receivers run into each other. I thought it was going to be an interference, but no, they took each other out. What the heck is that? And
Not the way they drew it up, that's for sure.
Carr got mad because he got hit. If that had been Brady back there, that would have been called a penalty.
Oh, did you see that yesterday, by the way?
That's what I'm saying. This was a pretty good hit. Not that I'm saying it should be a penalty, but this was pretty good.
That
hit
call on Jarrett was
him.
bogus, man. He grabbed him around the waist, and they both rolled over.
If that had been Brady playing here, that would have been called a penalty for sure.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett got hit right in the ribs while he was sliding. He gave himself up. He was sliding. Gets decked in the ribs. No call. These officials, man. So
wow.
But yeah, bring back the stolen base.
I agree. It's a lot more strategy with the stolen base.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't either. And while they're at it, bring back stirrup socks and get rid of these long pants.
Oh.
And I think it was David Cohn the other day. The Rangers had their throwback uniforms on against the Yankees. But they were buttoned down. He's like, no, they were supposed to be the V-neck pullovers. They got to bring those back, too.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. That's cool, yeah.
So, see, we're solving baseball's problems.
Yeah.
They just need to ask us.
They should really start coming back to those things. Used to be so much more fun.
It was. So, all right, I guess that's it for now. Did a good 90 minutes.
Yep. We'll definitely be into the NBA and hockey next time. I've started.
And college hoops.
Oh, right.
Because our team, see, we only care about college hoops because our team's good again.
I know.
The Huskies are back.
Yeah, I hope they're.
Thank you, Danny Hurley, for putting them back on that. Speaking of Huskies, real quick, by the way. Maybe I should. We don't have any college football graphics, so I'll just go back to the football graphic. The UConn football team, have you seen this?
No.
Jim Mora, 3 wins.
Jim Mora?
They're 3-4. Jim Mora has them, there's a tweet out there that says he's crossing off all these things, all these losing things. But they've beaten 2 FBS teams in a row, 2 non-conference opponents in a row. It's the first time they've won 2 in a row since 2017, I think it was. That's crazy.
I know. I know that for the longest time that program hasn't.
For people outside of Connecticut who generally know the UConn Huskies for their basketball fame, right. The men 4 national titles and the women have 11 of them or 12 of them. Our football program's sad. And we had a coach named Randy Edsel who got them to national prominence back in the mid to late aughts. Got them in the Fiesta Bowl one year.
Yep.
They got killed, but that was the year Howard got stabbed. Our remember the kid the defensive back got killed.
Oh. Jeez.
His last name was Howard. What was his first name? Jalen Howard, I think it was. But anyway, they got killed in the bowl, but they were on the rise and they were ready to make that next leap into Division I. And Edsel decided to leave and go to Maryland. And the program went right in the toilet.
Yeah, I mean...
They brought in... what was the guy they brought in from Syracuse there?
He got the opportunity, so...
He was awful. And then they brought in this guy from Notre Dame, Diaco. It was just... the recruiting went... They couldn't get anybody. And the team just went right back. I mean, miserable. They hired Jim Mora this past year, this past summer. I mean, Jim Mora hasn't even had time to really recruit anybody.
Right.
He just came in and took the team that was there, and he's got them at 3-4.
That's really good.
I mean, they did play Michigan a few weeks ago. It was on national TV, and they got killed like 59-0.
Well, I mean,
but I was like, why are they playing Michigan?
That's stupid.
How did
who's
Michigan end
scheduling
up on UConn's schedule?
That's
crazy.
ridiculous.
And it was in Michigan at the Big House too. Like those poor kids, man. Don't put them through that.
That's totally ridiculous to do that to a team. Like,
my
God, how do they? Who decides that?
I don't know. It was probably determined years ago. Like they schedule these things out. You know, when they agree to do these like non-conference, opponents, they're usually several years out.
But they should be able to like adjust that. That's what good is like from either Michigan or UConn's point of view? Like what?
I don't know.
What do you get out of that game?
Well, come on, it's Jim Harbaugh. He's a tool. He just wanted to beat somebody up,
Right. Yeah. I'm sure his team got better, or
more yeah, I'm sure.
On that. Jeez.
But hey, you know what? I'm glad we got a named coach here, Jim Mora.
Yep.
And he's
good.
Turning it around, and who knows, maybe this time, and it's going to take years.
I know.
But you got to give him 3 to 4 years, right? You got to let him recruit his own players, let all these kids move on, and get his own players in there, and then we'll see, what he can do. He was successful at UCLA. Let's see what he can do here. But it would be so much fun if we had a decent college football program here in Connecticut. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Because when Edsel had those guys playing ball back then, like I remember they went and beat Notre Dame in Notre Dame. Like I had my brother had season tickets. I went all the time, and it was so much fun to have a competitive college football team. And now you can get in for $2 because they're so bad.
Yeah.
But that would be fun. I mean, if we could have the basketball program and the football program feeding into it, you never know. But yeah, good things are happening.
You definitely got to give them a chance, though. This isn't like the NFL where it's like you got the, all the money to spend around.
I think it's going to be totally on him. It's however long he wants to stay and put the time in, I think.
Okay. Hopefully he'll stay then.
I hope he stays for 12, 15, 16 years. I mean, it would be nice and build this thing. And the way they constructed the stadium at Rentschler Field, too, is it's 40,000 seat stadium, but it's the top level is just right. They can add right on top.
Yep.
And that's what they were kind of hoping 15 years ago would happen, that the program would get so big they'd have to add more seats and we'd become a big time draw, because there's plenty of parking and stuff out there. They put that stadium out in the middle of nowhere.
Definitely have plenty of, definitely have the parking.
So it would be really, really awesome to see. If maybe Jim Mora can get it to that level, 5, 6, 7 years down the road. We'll see. But I might have to go check out a game. I was flabbergasted. I didn't even bother paying attention this year. They've been so bad. And then I saw that thing that they're 3-4, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I hadn't realized that they got Mora.
Yeah, I knew they hired Jim Mora. They hired him last summer, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Like they put some money into that. They're trying to save that program. Yeah, I don't know. And the basketball team being good again might help with recruiting.
Right, for sure.
Because you'll see athletes want to come here if there's a. And don't forget the UConn baseball team has been excellent now for about 5 or 6 years. I mean, George Springer got his belt. Did you see what happened to him the other day? It was awful.
No.
Oh, he got run into by Bichette. And they had to cart him off the field. He got hit right in the head. But George Springer's from 6 miles away from me, New Britain, Connecticut. Went to UConn. So UConn's had in fact, UConn baseball set a record for wins this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 50 wins or something like that. So
I know their women's soccer team program is really good. I forgot whether I got to look to see if the men's are good.
And their hockey team is getting steadily better too. Their hockey team went to Hockey East tournament last year, and yeah, it's good to see. because we don't have any pro teams here. So,
Yeah.
Our pro team is our UConn basketball. That's our pro team.
It
It's
is.
true.
It really is.
It's true. If I wear a UConn Huskies hat or a hoodie or something outside Connecticut, people just go, Husky basketball. Like, they
Yep.
know.
That's what it is. Yeah.
They know how good they are at basketball. Nothing else.
Oh yeah, they're nationally known for sure.
Yeah. It's just sad that the men that choked in the first round in the tournament last year was terrible. Hopefully they can fix that. They lost 4 seniors.
This year. Yep.
They lost R.J. Cole, and yeah, it's going to be rough, especially without him. He ran the whole thing. So, but we'll see. It'll be fun. I want to get up to a couple games this year if I can. So, I think we've babbled long enough.
Got into everything.
Got into everything. And then some. So, all right, I'm going to...
I got to remember to bring some bowling news next time into it, and then that'll cap it.
I can't believe you just said that, because I almost made the comment a few minutes ago. Like, what about the Pro Bowlers Tour? I was going to say.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching our babbling nonsense if you hung in there all this time. We were going to live stream this, but we chickened out because we weren't sure we had anything to talk about.
Right.
But maybe we'll live stream going forward.
Yeah. Somehow we always wind up with too much.
Yeah. Yeah, we always do. But, when we live stream, too, we get the audience interaction. So
yeah, right.
That's always better. But this is kind of a test thing because we can't do our pick show this year because our schedules are too all over the place this year. Unfortunately, we're not locked in our homes as much as we were.
Yeah,
before.
it was a miracle last year that we actually got every single week's picks in.
Well, the year before when we started doing it, we did it every week. Then too, we just missed one.
Yep. Oh, I know. I'm saying it's quite a miracle that we wound up doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's like work. It's like family life. It's way too hard to do it. It's like we're not paid NFL analysts who actually work that way. If it's your job, obviously it's easy to show up for your job and do it, but it's hard when
which is why don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe.
Yeah.
Because someday we'd love to just be able to do this and nothing else.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we just we'll have a sports channel and the whole thing. But baby steps, and want to thank you as we're closing in on 1,250 subscribers now, which is awesome because go back 2-3 months ago when we were at like 300 and change, thinking this is never going to happen.
When we did football last year, we weren't even, wasn't even in the around the corner or anything. Like it wasn't even like at the end of the tunnel yet.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate everyone who subscribed and got it. They're much quicker than I thought.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's continuing to grow at a steady clip. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for everybody leaving comments. We try to get to as many as we can. We do read them all. It's just hard sometimes to be able to respond to them all, and a lot of times believe it or not, I always check like I'm on a job site. And it's like, oh, I got 2 seconds here. I'm just like, oh, there's some comments. And I read them, and then I can't get to them right then, and I forget. I forget to go back, and because I read them, and then the little dot that they're new is gone.
Right. Then
and it gets lost in the, it's hard. And we're a small channel. I mean, if it gets, it's going to be impossible to keep up with eventually. But we'll try, because we want to be honest. We'll try, do our best.
Yeah,
we're only human beings.
I actually liked it. When there's a lot of I liked some of the interaction. So there's a lot of good people out there just like adding to it.
Yeah,
and it's like
even the guy who made a video about me. It's fine.
That was supreme.
We can take it. Part of the deal when you put yourself out there, right?
Hey, they do it all the time to the geeks and gamers guys. And,
I mean, not everybody's going to agree with you.
Exactly.
So, it is what it is. So anyway, let's stop boring everyone. We're at 1:45. So you can find us on the socials at GeekTime Net. Do I have that still here? I do. Let me move it. I'll move it right there. There we go. And also on Rumble. Everything's mirrored over on Rumble. So if for whatever reason YouTube goes away or whatnot, find us there. All right. I guess that's that. This was fun.
Yeah, I like that.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Up.
Good night. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up below. Also, please subscribe to GeekTime TV. It really helps us grow the channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon in order to receive notifications every time we drop new content here. You can also check us out on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at GeekTimeNet. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?